it just touches on a lot of different emotions. We have an incredible guest here. I was fortunate enough to hear his story, and I think everyone else will be blessed by it. We have someone who is a former LAPD officer and now a spokesperson, a leader, a communicator, and somebody whose life has been transformed. And I'm excited for y'all to hear the story. So, Ruben Palomares, thank you for being here, brother.
It's a privilege to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I was privileged to come across your story, and I was blown away. You started off in childhood, and I kind of want to go back to some of that stuff because I think that's an important part of, just your journey. So before we even get into your LAPD career and just everything that happened there, I'd love to talk about just like your childhood, like where'd you grow up and what was life like growing up for you?
Okay, I was born in Mexico, but my parents brought me over when I was 1 year old. I had family members living already in South Central, so when we showed up, they brought us here. We ended up staying with uncles and aunts that already lived in South Central. So pretty much from 1 year old to like 6, I grew up in that area. And we moved to Linwood. From Linwood we went to Huntington Park, which is like maybe a border South Central, Huntington Park. And I grew up 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, junior high and high school in Huntington Park and Boyle Heights, which is East LA. So pretty much that's the surrounding area where I grew up on. And knowing that area, growing up in that area, there was a lot of violence, gangs, drugs. I was around uncles that were involved in that stuff, but I pretty much was one of the guys that knew that that's not what I wanted for my life. But I grew up with a stepfather who, I didn't live with my stepfather until I was 17 years old. But growing up with him, he was an alcoholic and abusive, so dealing with him, he toughened me up for the street because of the beating I took made me believe that that's what I needed to be strong and tough in the streets. So I wouldn't tolerate anybody trying to disrespect me or try to bully me. But it all came back from my childhood because my dad instilled something in me that made me a little angry, violent, and hateful. And I despise bullies. And during that time, and I grew up around the gang problems, and I didn't like the way they behaved towards us out there. I have moments where they point shotguns in my head and threaten me or tell me where I'm from. I'm not even a gangster, I'm not even dressed like one, but I got situations like that where I'm at gunpoint growing up, and I started having a lot of resentment and bitterness towards the lifestyle because I did have family and friends that were gangsters, but I didn't hate the person, I hated the lifestyle, but it caused me to just hate overall everybody in that lifestyle, And
So you growing up around gang members, you growing up around violence, you growing up around all this chaos, and then you got the stepfather who's abusing you. How did you view like authority, moving forward, seeing all of this?
I didn't respect authority, and I didn't believe in authority because I felt that growing up around a father like that, I felt that he was flaky, he didn't keep his word because he was an alcoholic, so he would never, he would promise not to drink again. He'd be drunk for a week or two, and then he did like the withdrawals of the sickness of it, and then my mom would help him out by giving him more alcohol to help him get the withdrawals out of the way. But then he'd go back to drinking for another week. So I lost respect for the person that he was because he wouldn't keep his word. He always, an alcoholic or an addict, that's what they do. They just make these false promises. So I didn't respect him for that. And to me, I had a hate-love type of thing with him because I saw him as a dad, but I didn't know him as my stepdad. So that's the only dad I knew in my life. And when it came to just overall adults, I just thought, you can't trust him. I'm my own person. I can't expect him to do anything for me because he's an alcoholic. I can't expect him to take care of me or provide for me. My mom was doing all the hustle, working hard. She's 10 kids. I have 10 brothers and sisters. So she's raising 10 brothers and sisters. I'm the second oldest. I see what's going on as a kid, watching everything go on. My mom's stressing and worried about the bills and worried about my dad. We're just worried about us because he's trying to control us too because he's afraid that we might get involved in something bad growing up in the environment. So she's trying to use her own, I guess you could say, her own approach to trying to control us and keep us from going out to messing up. But it was also not the healthy way to do it, but she meant well, but at the same time it caused you to kind of bug more because she tried to instill her own Catholic belief system, but it wasn't working because I really I didn't like the system they had. So I booked more.
Outside of like your stepfather, like were there any other male role models in your life?
I had a role model as my uncle, and he was to me. They taught me to work. I worked construction with them since I was like 10 years old. They just took me to work to keep me out of trouble on my vacation time. And they paid me money like weekly $20, but I was a kid, so to me it was big money. But they instilled good stuff in my life on like hard work and everything. But like a year later, that uncle got killed he got killed for 2 kilos of cocaine. They set him up and robbed him. I didn't know he was a drug dealer. He was bringing in dope from Mexico. I didn't know he was doing all those drugs, but that really impacted me and hurt me a lot. It affected my childhood. Affected me a lot because to me he was like my real big brother stash, kind of father figure. And when that happened, that hurt me, affected me in a way where I started resenting and hating that lifestyle more as a kid. I'm a kid. I made it around. I was at the funeral watching him in the casket, watching everybody laugh. I'm crying, and I'm the only one that can't cry or knows how to cry. I'm just thinking in my head, pretty much the F word about everybody, everything. I'm an angry little kid, and I'm seeing this, and it just it affected me.
So you got family members who are you got family members, friends joining gangs, in the dope game and different things along those lines, and you're not, it's interesting, you're choosing not to go that route, right? You're going a different route, and then I guess, you got into boxing as a young? Is that, you think, what helped you escape, or what do you feel like was your escape to deal with all of the traps that were set for you?
Knowing that I didn't want none of that, I knew that there's more positive things to do in life than that. I always felt inside my heart that I was meant for something better and bigger. So I didn't know that boxing was going to be used to deter me from all the nonsense around me. Because when I started boxing, I started doing it because the passion of just, I guess, the passion of the art, wanted to learn it, just to know how to fight good. More so to defend myself in the street, because I got into a lot of street fights as a kid because I wouldn't put up a lot of nonsense, and I got jumped by three guys, sometimes 2 guys. And so I'm not going to know how to box better. I'm going to get beat up by these guys. And then I said, you know what? I fell in love with boxing. And that, when I got into boxing, really into it, because I knew get me out of the streets, or out of the inner cities too, because I felt that I knew one of the guys I grew up with. He won the gold medal from 1984 Olympics, and his name is Paul Gonzalez. He was boxing at the same gym where I boxed, and his coach became my coach, and the assistant coach became my coach, Memorial. They started grooming me for all the fights, and then I started putting it in my heart to go to the 1988 Olympics. But I watched Paul get to the Olympics, win the gold medal, and I seen him get a world champion, and buy his mom a house, and I see how financially was helping him, and I thought to myself, I want the same thing. I can get a gold medal too. So I started boxing, competing, Golden Gloves at 15 years old, Golden Gloves at 16 years old, climbing the ladder in the boxing world. I started sparring with De La Hoya, St. Mosey, all those guys. We became sparring partners. I got real good at it, and I set my goal to go to the 88 Olympics. But at that time, I was a permanent resident. The team told me that I couldn't box for the Olympics. I wasn't a citizen yet.
Wow.
So they threw me out of the tournament. I got really upset, and I said, you know what, forget this. I'm gonna do something about this, get my paperwork. So I got my citizenship. I went to immigration, got my citizenship. So then I said, it's too late for the 88 Olympics, so let me prepare for the 92 Olympics. So I kept competing, boxing. I got opportunities to travel and compete like different teams, different countries and stuff. And before the 92 Olympics, 91, I'm training, getting ready. I broke a thumb, and I got sick, and I couldn't fight this tournament that would have got me to the box office. So I kind of got discouraged, disillusioned that I didn't really want to pursue boxing anymore, because I thought to myself, boxing is good, but they don't have workers' comp, they have insurance, they don't have anything for you. So pretty much, if you get hurt, they're going to kick you to the curb. You are going to make money for the manager, for the coaches. That's what you do, but you're a moneymaker for them while you're good, intact. When you're injured, you don't do it for nobody. So they kick you to the curb. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to be nobody's moneymaker for them. I'm going to imagine myself, if I get to gold, moneymaker for me. But since I didn't go there, I said I needed to pursue my next goal, which was to be a police officer.
So LAPD,
Right.
How do you get into the LAPD? Like, you just fill out an application, you just go down there, it's like, I'm gonna do this. Like, how did you make this decision?
Well, the funny story, but one of my trainers was active LAPD while he was taking us to the fights and to the tournaments. I was thinking, he was one of my trainers, and he was a Polish guy who went to the inner city and would get the kids for the projects, from East LA projects, and take some box and compete. And he was all over picking us up, taking care of us like a dad. And I saw this guy's he's a solid guy. He's not looking out for anything bad towards you. He's looking out for a good. And I said, man, he's a good role model, mentor type. And I thought to myself, I could do the same thing as a cop, just like he's doing it. And I thought that maybe, being a cop, I could do both. I could help, and I could still at the same time have a good job, career. Not to mention I like to carry a gun back then. Growing up in the neighborhood, I like a gun,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, growing up in that neighborhood, South Central, East LA, a cop is like the worst thing you could be in a lot of those environments. How did that fit into your story? Like, what made you feel like this is the route I'm gonna take?
I'm the type of person that I'm not I've never been a follower. I'm my own person, which to me I felt it could benefit me because at the same time I could help our own people in the communities from bullying cops. Because in my cops are bullies. I grew up around with a couple of bullies for no reason. You live in the wrong area, they're gonna stop you, hassle you, and you're not even a gangster, you're not even doing anything illegal, they're gonna bully you. So to me, I resented that. I didn't like that. So I thought, you know what? I could look out for ourselves and other people, and at the same time still have the position to help the victims out there, not just myself, but victims from the gangster bullies or from the gangster bully cops, And to me that was like a thought in my head, so I said, why not answer the job?
Yeah. With your stepdad kind of like negatively messing up your view of authority and violence in the home, like, does that influence your decision to be a cop, or is that just something completely different?
Honestly, completely different, because my dad instilled the toughness in me that I accepted during that time, so I didn't see it like I'm being punked or I'm a victim up to this guy. I just thought that is the way I'm supposed to get raised to be tough out here.
Okay.
In my mind, I couldn't process it any other way because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And when you're a little kid and you're brought up around the machismo, the tough guy mentality, that's all I saw anyway. My uncles, my cousins that were tough guys or supposedly tough guys in their own mind. That's the thing still in you.
Yeah.
To survive, you have to not let nobody disrespect you or bully you. So they instill these things in my head that it made me believe that that's what makes you man, toughness.
So you were a cop in LA in the 90s.
In the 90s.
The 90s were crazy.
Extra crazy.
So a lot of people like it's not the same kind of cameras we have now. There's
none of that.
Like, what were you seeing out there as a cop in the 90s in LA? All right, so I remember my kids were little, and at one point I had 3 under 4. As much as I was focused on providing for them in the moment, diapers, daycare, and lullaby, I actually had to start thinking about the future. And because I wasn't raised in a household where we talked about future planning, financial planning, life insurance, or anything, I had to figure all this out on my own. Today, I have an incredible opportunity. Fabric by Gerber Life offers flexible, high-quality policies that fit your family and your budget, like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. And they partnered with Gerber Life, which is a company trusted by millions of families for over 50 years. There's absolutely no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel anytime. Plus, nearly 2,000 parents have given Fabric a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. So you know you're in good hands. And it's not just life insurance. Fabric helps busy parents with free digital wills, access to investment accounts. All this stuff is managed right from your phone. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. I am looking out for you. Look out for yourself. Look out for your family. Apply right now. It's minutes. Go to meetfabric.com/Lecrae. That's it. All right. Policies are issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, and it's not available in certain states, and the prices obviously are subject to underwriting and health questions. But listen, this is what you need. All right. Make sure you go sign up.
To be honest, every day I saw murders, drive-by shootings, suicides, rapes, kidnapped me. But I saw a lot of gangster activity because I was patrol cop, and then I was undercover, patrol, and a gang cop in the areas where gangs were at all-out war in the 90s. There were killings every day. There were MS-13, 18th Street, Playboy. All these neighborhoods were at war. So from one block to the next block, there's drive-by. So pretty much every day I would see two to three victims of killings from gang retaliation. 3 or 4 more victims got wounded but not killed. And that was like a daily thing in the 90s.
How was that? Did that even affect you? Or were you numb to it? Like when you first started to see this, just everyday bodies.
I was pretty numb to it. I had my first shootout when I was 6 months on the job, and I was doing undercover work. And that shooting pretty much sealed the deal to kind of, from growing up already hard and tough, it kind of put the last nail on my toughness.
Yeah.
But it messed me up in the long run. It really messed me up. But I got to my first shootout working undercover. 2 older guys tried to rob me, and I shot out with them. I got shot both of my legs, and I shot the guy. But then the damage that happened to me, psychologically, mostly, I suppressed.
Yeah.
I never talked about it. I just toughed it out.
So wait, tell us the story. How does this go down? You just like, you're undercover at the time?
Yeah, you know the show 21 Jump Street?
Yeah.
Well, I actually worked a unit that's like 21 Jump Street.
Okay.
I was fresh out of the academy. They sent me to patrol for a few months, and then they called me and asked me if I wanted to do undercover in high schools, like an 11th grader. The fact that I was young back then, they said you fit the mold and everything. I'm like, all right, cool. So they trained me to go talk to talk, walk to walk, talk to slang, the dope slang. And they sent me to 11th grade and to a high school, Riverview Hills, and then Sun Valley, up in the valley somewhere.
So you gotta take classes.
I gotta take classes. I gotta pretend I'm a student.
Wow.
I can't get F's. I could get A's, B's, C's, or even D's, but I can't get kicked out of school.
So the staff doesn't know you're...
Nobody knows. The principal knows that there's an undercover cop there, but they don't know who that person is.
Okay.
And it's for your own safety too.
Okay.
So there I am in school, infiltrating, hanging out with the students like a student, and connecting with the kids that I see smoking weed, and they introduced me to drug dealers, and I started buying weed. Eventually I buy some cocaine. I start buying whatever dope they have. I'm buying it because I'm just building cases on these youngsters. And to me, I was told, you know what, they're gonna get like a slap on the wrist, so they're gonna learn their lesson, help you deter them from getting into the big dope with the big drug dealers out there. We want to know who supplies it. I want to see if they have any guns too in school. Some of the kids carry guns and weapons and stuff. So there I'm buying drugs, and one day they introduced me to a guy that's he has PCP, and they say, hey, this guy here, he has PCP, but he has it at home. He wants to set it up and sell it to you. And buy it. I go, yeah, I'll buy it. And I said, how much you have? He told me, I'll find out when I get home. I remember the 90s we didn't have no cell phones, so it's a pager time.
Yeah. So
I have a pager, and I said, well, just take my pager down and page me with me to find out, and we'll arrange it tomorrow, bring the money. The same night, I'm home already, off duty, relaxing, and hanging out with some buddies, and he pages me. So I go to the payphone, and it's an area where I'm pretty familiar with, and I felt safe in this area because I grew up in that area, so I'm like, I don't feel like there's a threat here. So I got on the payphone, I'm on the phone talking to the guy, setting up the deal. He's gonna sell me $80 of PCP. When I hang up, I get back on the phone to talk to somebody else, and payphones are everywhere during that time. There's just no cell phones. And as I'm on the phone, 2 older gangsters approach me. One puts a gun to my stomach, and the other guy corners me into my left, and they start going to my pockets. And during this time, because I'm already off duty, I'm carrying my 9mm in my rear waistband, and my badge and my cop ID, my wallet in my rear pocket. So my main game plan is to deter them from finding out that I have all this, or that I'm a cop. So I go, here, take my money, take my car, whatever you guys want. I really don't care. Just leave me alone. They're like, give me your effing wallet, I'm gonna kill you. I don't have a wallet. And I got the phone like this, but I'm not gonna big reach for my gun. I got the gun here. He'll pop me before I do that. So I'm trying to distract him, and this guy's going to my pocket. He's going to my rear pocket. So at one point, I just dropped his hand, and I backhand him in the face. As I do that, instantly I just grab the guy's gun. It's just reaction. I just started fighting for the gun. I turned the gun on him, and we fall to the ground. And he's trying to pull the gun away with the grip, and he's pulling away. I'm trying to pull it from the barrel, but we're on the floor side by side. I got the barrel pointed towards him. During this time, his friend starts kicking me, so I'm blocking the kicks. And at one point he pulls the gun away from me and stands over me. I can see the barrel, the bullet in slow motion by this time. I grab his kick, I throw him over me. As I get up, he fires and shoots me in my right leg. I turn around and I'm about to fire, he hits my left leg. So I just aim and start firing, and I hit the guy and stuff, but they turn the corner and their driver takes him to the hospital. And eventually they got arrested there, they need treatment, but I call 911, they show up, treat me, and I'm still fired up on adrenaline. I'm like fired up, angry, pissed off, cussing and stuff. And they're like, calm down, no, let's go find him. They went that way. I'm thinking adrenaline's really tough, and that adrenaline dope is tough.
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling no pain or nothing. I'm not even caring about my bullet wounds. And they're saying, we gotta check your exit wounds and make sure that there's exit wounds. If not, we're gonna put a rock through them. And I'm like, oh heck no. Seconds later, the adrenaline runs out, and I'm there. Now the pain kicks in. Now I feel like they put some corkscrews in and started twisting my muscles. So they shoot me with morphine, and they start interviewing me about what happened. Trust me to the hospital. Once I'm to the hospital, basically the morphine's good, so I'm not feeling nothing. And I was only there for a few hours, and they sent me home. But that really messed me up. And mentally, that's what PTSD kicked in really strong. I had no idea what PTSD was or mental health. I had no clue that that's something that existed. I just thought you grow up in an environment where you tough things out and you don't talk about your feelings, emotions. That's a sign of weakness. So I kept it to myself. Though I was being tormented daily, even the day it happened, I was already affected. I was already mad at myself, blaming myself for dropping my guard. And people that would always call me to ask me for the story, I was burned out by having to share the story over and over. But little did I know that I was going to start accumulating and building more junk in me, and making me more angry, more bitter, more like addicted to the violence. It made me more addicted to violence because I really lost the fear of getting killed at that moment. I saw bullets coming at me that day. I got hit, I didn't feel no pain. I got pumped up by chasing and shooting the guy. I felt like you can't break me. I'm tested already. I'm not worried about that stuff. So I was always like on the edge of when's my next shootout.
So you felt like power.
But I didn't realize it was demonization. I found that out later on, and we'll talk about that later. I found out
power.
I found that out later on in my evilness of lifestyle I was involved in. That was a demonic power because they would drive me to want that fix of violence, and it's like I craved it. I went back to work a month later after just physical therapy. Now I go to patrol to Rampart division.
Now before you get into that, like explain to people like Rampart division how dangerous that was and what that means.
Okay, so it's about 8 mile square radius, and there's, to be honest, more than 40 gangs in that area, like rival gangs. I'm not sure now, but there was gangs in every corner, extorting, fighting for territory, moving drugs, extorting the vendors, extorting the ice cream truck, extorting the liquor stores, robbing each other, fighting each other, killing each other. In the 90s, it was all-out wars against MS-13 because they weren't paying rent to the Mexican mafia. So 18th Street was the biggest gang back then. But anyone that saw them was ordered to kill on sight. So they were not going to get themselves killed just for free, so they're going to shoot back. It was all-out wars. And if you're in that area, you're gonna be in one block and you're gonna hear the bullets on the other block. So you're not in a drive-by, and now you're pursuing a car that just shot at the enemy, and he's bleeding out on the floor, and you have to leave him there. You have to just call for an ambulance for him, but you gotta chase the car that shot him. And you're chasing them in pursuit. They're throwing guns out the window or dope, and you're on them, and you know they're gonna shoot back at you. And that was a constant thing. But it's an adrenaline. For me, I was an adrenaline junkie back by then, and the adrenaline, the high of it, it was like I needed to get that. I was craving it, and there was mostly Latino gangs, Hispanic gangs from El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras. They were all in that area at war for something. It's called money and power. You know? That area was loaded with dope addicts. People come from different cities to buy dope in that area. Crack cocaine was big back then. Heroin, regular coke. You name every corner sold different dope there. And they all work for the Mexican mafia for the most part.
So is your PTSD kicking in? Because around every corner it could be a shootout, could be something. Like how are you processing all of this?
I would always drive one hand here and one hand on my 45. And my gun was already here. It wasn't in my holster. It was always in my lap. And I'll be holding it and I'm driving the streets and listening to everything, windows down, listening to all the noise, activity. Your head's on the swivel. You're all over the place. But you don't want to get caught off guard. You want to, you're craving the action. You want it to happen because you're like feeding for it and you're hoping it happens. And when you're there and you hear the radio call of shot fired there, you want to be first. And that's what I was at. I was there. I'd be first. I'll tell them on the radio, to rep, whatever unit, I'm there. I'm first. Because I wanted, hoping I would get into one of those shootouts. And it was like, of course, now I know it was all influenced by demonic powers because it was from like the suicide mission. I didn't care about getting killed. In my mind, I was thinking, if I get killed on duty, take care of my kids some money, take care of them. But I didn't think about myself. They're not going to have a dad. I didn't think like that. I'm thinking, what's going to make kids happy? Not financial, money. It's going to be the father. And I wasn't going to.
And you got a lot of wounds. You got the wounds of your uncle dying. You got the wounds of just like abuse. And then it's like the enemy was just telling you like, and then you get shot, and then it's like, now you're thrown into the belly of the beast. But you didn't just stop at Rampart. You end up with the crash. Rampart.
Eventually, through my work there, my first year for patrol there, I started building a reputation, and the sergeant from Crash hits me up and says, "Hey Ruben, you know, we voted you into Crash. There's 22 officers in the Crash unit, and they all deal with different gangs, and we all took a voting, and we want to recruit you to Crash." And I'm like, okay, I wasn't thinking about getting into Crash yet. I was just thinking, let me get into patrol. Because I had a gym, I had opened my first MMA gym back then. So it was 96, so I'm thinking, let me handle my gym, my business, and still be a cop on the 312, which is a 12-hour shift, 3 days a week. I got time to run my business and do my little job here. But when they hit me up, I started having to go, okay, so I guess I want to go to Crash. It's the unit and the adrenaline, the jump, the action, and you're going to chase the worst predators in the city. Like, why not? So I said, sure, I'll take the job.
So Crash is, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like the movie Training Day, it's like a gang, like
it's a big
tight knit,
hush type of stuff, and you gotta take each other, cover each other's back, take care of each other, because you're dealing with the hardened criminals that are running the streets and victimizing non-innocent people. So pretty much you have to be able to trust each other.
What does that turn you into? Like when every day you're dealing with like ruthlessness and darkness, like what are you just seeing like people as just predators, or how are you thinking about people when you see them?
When you see their actions, how they kill innocent people or rape women and extort innocent people, you lose total respect for them as humans, and you don't see them as human beings, you see them as trash, garbage. You say, you know what, they don't need to be here. They're innocent people that you're taking care of, and you listen to them cry to you, or you watch their son die or mom die or innocent kids die because of their actions. You lose respect, and you become so hard towards them that they become your enemies, but you become the hunter. You start hunting them down to punish them. And you want to instill fear in them. You want to instill, you want to make sure they respect and they fear you. You want both. You're like, you're going to respect me, you're going to fear me, because that's what you're going to, that's what you want to do. You want to put people and instill fear in them, or we're going to put it on you guys.
Man.
We're the real gangster here. We're the real gang here.
Man.
And you don't have no love. I didn't have no love. I had a lot of hate in me because I never experienced what fatherly love is. So for me, I don't know what it is. I didn't know nothing about that stuff. So to me, it's like, I don't mind if you die, you die. That's your problem. You should have been a gangster. So you're real cold-blooded. And when I see him dead, I'd be upset. I said, unfortunately, it wasn't me that shot him. So I was very dark and twisted and demonized, and it was like normal to me. The violence was normal, and you see him bleeding out, and of course your job is to help him, so you want to help him, you have to help him, but in my mind I'm like, I hope you don't make it. Cold-blooded. And when I would talk to victims and then tell me, hey, you know, this gangster from so-and-so neighborhood just robbed that family, we don't want to press charges because he said he'll kill us. And we don't want to press charges, help us out. So the Crash unit had a system, and I get dope, and they call it cop dope. I put on the gangster and book him on some dope. Because I can't get him on robberies because no victims. The victims are going to press charges. And get rid of him. And to me, it's like I'm doing their justice for them.
So the stuff that, you know, people hear about, yeah, like, man, somebody putting dope on you and like, I got them that way. I know you did this. Or, you know, dropping people off in rival neighborhoods, like those types of things would y'all really like?
It was active. It was real. It was real. You know, there's always two sides to the story, and I'm not justifying nothing because I was wrong 100%, and our unit was wrong. But and when you're doing that, and you have been given a green light by your superiors to take care of business at all costs, because these guys are all out crazy, out of control. You can't stop them from killing each other. You can't stop them from moving drugs. You can't stop all that. But you want to at least deter and intimidate them. Let them know, hey, when you get cracked hard because that's what you chose. But these victims didn't choose that. So you want to bully victims, be aware that you have a bigger bully can come get you. So know that we exist, and we let them know we exist, and they were afraid of us to the point when they saw us, they got on their knees right away and their hands were up.
Wow.
Because they knew that we're gonna crack down on them, and they would tell us, okay, I gotta go to my waistband, blah 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 blah. They'll try to, you know.
Yeah. So y'all, like the rules kind of. If I was in a part of the Rampart division, this is just me, I don't know how y'all felt, the rules would change in my mind a little bit, because I'm like, now you're a notorious killer and you rape people. So the rules are gonna change for me. I don't care if I'm not supposed to punch you in your mouth right now, like I'm doing it. Like, is that kind of the mindset?
Yeah, the rules were, we made up the rules.
Okay.
If you wanna be my informant, I got dope on you, or I got a gun on you, it's yours. You're a 3-striker, you're gonna work for me, I'm gonna put it on you. You're a 3-striker, you're running your operation, you're causing problems here. You know what do you wanna do? You wanna work for me, or you wanna go to jail with this gun or this dope? You got a choice. I'm gonna work for you. So a lot of the gangs would turn informants for us, and they were still running the neighborhoods. They were shot callers for different neighborhoods, but they were our informants too. And you either twist it up like that, but to us it was like, we run the show here, we don't care. That's the way it was created back then, and it was normal for us because it worked. The system worked. I mean, of course, now that I know Christ, of course, it's a different story.
For sure.
But because I already know that you reap what you sow, you're gonna get caught up on your own for doing what you do. But when you don't know any better, you're gonna go with the worldly rules, and whatever works is gonna be your system. And if you give me the green light, I'm gonna go all out on that.
Your whole life, you were taking the right path. You were like, man, You may not have knew Jesus like you should, but you were still like, I'm not gonna be a gangbanger. I'm not gonna be a robber, dope dealer. When did you feel like I crossed the line as a cop?
So the first time I started looking into like crossing over is when my partner and I, we stopped these drug dealers and we searched them, and one of them had a lot of money. And after we searched them, my partner was over here searching two of them, and they had put the money down here on a little spot somewhere, and when I went back, the money wasn't there. And then we went to go eat, and my partner's paying for the meal, and he pulled out that wad of money. And I saw my one eye, so I never expected to do, I didn't thought like that, I never expected to do that. So then Rafael Perez got in trouble in our unit, the crash unit, and everybody in my unit started getting in trouble for Rafael Perez informing on the unit of doing the crash work, though we were doing it. So I started like losing respect for the sergeant and everybody else up there. I'm thinking, you guys gave us the green light to work like this. Now you're gonna target us and try to throw us under the bus.
Oh, so one of the leaders gets caught and he starts diming all of y'all out.
He was a crash unit, and he was in our unit too. He was a crash cop like us. He got busted for something. He stole some cocaine from the evidence locker and started slanging it out there, and he got busted. And we didn't know he was doing this, but then when he got in trouble, he ended up telling on the unit that we were operating the way we were operating. But in our minds, we're like, well, we're being approved. It's been approved to do this. And we're like, why are you targeting us? Well, go after all the crash units in LAPD. They have 18 divisions. Hit everybody. Why just us? We all operate the same.
Wow.
So I got really mad. That's like, again, I go back to my dad's authority. I didn't respect authorities. And I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to you guys. Forget you guys. So when Perez did that, I started taking it upon myself to, when I hit a house, just regular undercover stuff, if I found cash or dope, I'll keep it and I'll hide it for emergencies. Like the dope, I'll keep it for emergencies in case you gotta put on a gangster. I thought, this is our stash. So we have coke, weed, heroin, whatever is sold in that area, we just put on a gangster when they try to hide it from us or run from us. There's their dope.
When you bust into a house and you see dope in there, you just are grabbing it, stuffing it in your pocket, like where the house, you just, no one cares around you?
I would talk to the tenants where, in our mind, where I know I talk to the guys that are sometimes Hispanic, so I start talking in Spanish and say, I know it's not your drugs, I know it's somebody's having you stored for them. We're already looking into the guy, so we're gonna take this as evidence. We'll be back, don't go anywhere, we're gonna bring the dogs to search the house, and don't go anywhere. I know they're gonna leave, they're gonna run, because they're pretty much in that area, different like Salvadorians or Guatemaltecos, and we're like, they're running. So we'll just take the stuff and we're gonna come back, and they're gone, and then my partner just hide it and save it for a rainy day, for an emergency. So that's how we operated. And then when press started exposing us, instead of me changing, again going back to me being, I was vindictive, revengeful, bitter, of course, disrespectful to the authorities. I gathered a few partners of mine and like 6 other cops, and I connected with some guy from Mexico and told me, hey, I want you to hook me some work where I can collect some debts for you. People that owe you dope money anywhere, hook it up. And he called me one day and says, hey, I got this house, I want you to hit. So I stole the police car from the academy, the captain's car, and rounded up my crew. And we hit a house in Downey, and got close to $1 million in cash and 15 kilos of cocaine. And
some drug dealer's house?
A drug dealer's house. They were stashing dope there, the money for the people that are going to transport it back to Mexico. And we hit the house, and then I paid my workers, and I kept the rest of the money, and I started having my guys sell the coke. So I got addicted to the easy money and the adrenaline of that. And I was slapping the dope dealers in the face in my head. I'm hurting them. You know, I'm thinking in my head, I'm hurting them. Who cares? That's what they get. I'm hurting the department, I'm hurting you guys. I don't care anymore. I don't be a cop anymore.
Yo, so a lot of y'all have seen me wearing some of the clothes on the pod. Where can I get that shirt? Where can I get this? Where can I get that? A lot of it is my own merchandise that you can get at the Lecrae store. Like this shirt right here with God's child on the back, and the cog right here. The cog represents us being in the process of reconstruction, because God is always reconstructing us, right? But you can get all of this and more at Lecrae.store, LECRAE.store. Go there right now, get your discounts, get your merch, and do it. So the authority, the law at that point in time to you is like, it's all fake.
Right.
You don't care about the law, you don't respect it, and then the dope dealers, of course, you're like,
yeah.
So at this point, you're just on your own mission.
I'm on my own mission. I'm thinking to myself, the department's crooked. Why am I going to listen to them or respect the rules? And the dope dealers are out there moving the dope, making all this money. I'm going to take some of that money.
Wow.
And I started hitting houses. The second house I hit, I got like 500 pounds of weed. My partners, I had people moving it for me, and I started having gangsters working for me, found cousins working for me, just different people, and like 5 or 6 cops with me, under me. And I just started operating like my own little crew, a big old cop crew, stealing the cop cars from the academy, the captain's car, the lieutenant's car, and now they're like mocking him. I said, what car are we driving today? I just drive the lieutenant's car today. Or hit a house in his car, park it back, and say, thank you for the service, Lieutenant. I was being, jerk. I was straight up jerk.
So you are at this, I mean, you got a whole drug ring going on. How much money do you feel like you're making at this time?
For the most part, I'm making like $1 million a hit, and I'm moving it. I'm getting, like I'm liking the power, everything about it, because I have access to a lot of things, and people respect me and want to work with me for me. So I'm looking at that as, I'm the boss, so I run my own operation. I handle business. If you mess up, you know what the consequences are. So pretty much, I didn't care about nothing, or I didn't feel like I didn't have any fear of getting killed. My own mind, I was already like, I didn't realize how suicidal was in my own destructive way, that I was like looking forward to shootouts. If you want to come and kill me, come get me. I'm gonna get you back. Yeah. And I thought in my head that it's gonna be hard to kill me. Not really that was the enemy lying to me, of course. Yeah. One bullet here, I'm done. But I was like, you better hit me. I said, you better hit me right here. It was wild. And, I did it for 2 years, and I was getting addicted to it all. And I started seeing people around me, though, backstab each other, backstab me and my own cousins. And I started saying, you know what? Either I'm going to whack everybody here and get rid of everybody and just leave it alone because they're going to snitch on me, or I got to get out of it because I'm tired of all these people. So I started making stories up to get people out of my circle. And I still had a cousin who was kind of stubborn, and his own brother would tell me, America me him for you, primo. Like basically he'll kill him like America me his own brother. I go, you're crazy, dude. You ain't gonna do that stuff. But in my own mind, I said, just stay away from him. But he was already operating on his own with his friends, trying to move his own dope and connect with the wrong people. And through his actions, basically, is what God used to rescue me. Because he was connecting with some people in San Diego. They were meeting in a yacht. They were partying with these people. They were supposed Colombian cartel guys. They were partying with them. They were introducing them to cocaine, and these guys were all excited. My cousin and his buddy were all super excited. They were going to buy cocaine from these Colombian guys. And keep in mind, I was doing my own operations, and I was making this big money. I was hitting houses and stealing like 75 kilos of coke or more, and moving that coke everywhere. And to me, I wasn't involved in none. I didn't need none of their stuff. But one night, they asked me for 100 grand. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, I'm going to buy 10 kilos off these Colombians. And I've been partying with them for weeks in the yacht, and they're legit. They're not cops, they're not this or that. I'm like, dude, I really don't care about your stuff. But in the back of my head, I kind of thought, well, my own cousin tried to step on my toes before, so let me get even with him. He goes, well, I'll introduce you to the guy because he wants to have you collect the debt for him or train his guys in tactics, his bodyguards. I said, I wasn't going to go, but my pride got in my way, and I said, sure, let's go. And I'm glad I went because I tell the story that same night, I was planning for a whole year to whack 3 people that did me dirty. And it didn't do me dirty to me. It was my pride. They worked for me, sold cocaine for me, but they stole 2 kilos from me. So my own pride said, I'm going to whack these dudes. But that's just the evilness inside me was going to drive me to do it. For a whole year, I left it alone to hit him that night. And I went to meet this Colombian with my cousin and his friend. And it was DEA sting operation against my cousin and his friend. So I got arrested that night right there on the spot. And you know, when you see everything with eyes of God, of course, because God will open your eyes, you see that God was rescuing me. So many times I was just knuckleheaded. I wasn't stopping. And I wasn't listening. And that night is God rescued me because I did get arrested that night with those people, but I didn't know that God had a big, powerful plan for me.
So, we gonna get into that. I got a couple questions. So, okay, so first of all, let me make sure I get this straight. You hitting houses, you create this drug ring,
right?
And then you get an opportunity. Thank God, the opportunity popped up in a sense because you was gonna take a couple people out.
Yeah.
But you end up getting caught in the middle of a DEA sting. So
right.
They weren't even looking for you.
They weren't looking for me. It was my cousin's friend was hanging with these people. It was a setup for them.
Now, what at the time? What were you doing with the money?
I was stashing it. I had remodeled my house for 300 cash, and then I was just stashing it, and I was going to invest it in my own company. I was going to open up a training camp /
So you weren't just buying random stuff.
No.
You were just.
I was not flashing it. I'm not the kind of guy. I try to always be low key.
Okay.
So I wasn't flashy. I'm not a flashy guy, but the guys around me don't listen. They're trying to be flashy.
Got you.
I'm the only one that listens to my own rules. They didn't want to listen to the rules.
Okay. So you get taken down.
Right.
That's a big deal. What's the first thing that happens to you as a decorated LAPD officer who was, you done fought rival gang members, all kinds of stuff. Like, what's going through your brain now that you're getting arrested, and then what happens?
At that moment, the hardness was still there, and I was angry, thinking I got set up by the guy that invited me. So all I'm thinking is I'm gonna whack this dude. They set me up, and then I'm not complying with the DA at first, so they kind of come try to push me down because I'm looking at I was mad that I didn't shoot it out with them. Like I might as well go out in the bank, but I was mad that they caught me off guard because it was a setup with the van that had a kill switch. They put the 10 kilos of cocaine in the van and had a kill switch, and when I was parking to go to the bathroom, it turned off, and I didn't think anything of it. I got off the car to go to the bathroom, and all I hear is, put your hands up, get your gun. And I look back, and all these DAs, M16s are on me, and I'm like, I look at the driver, passenger, you set me up, F you, So I'm not even caring about it. I'm just like, the coldness is still there. And when they cuffed me, I did say, I'm working on cover, you guys are blowing my cover. I BS'd them, of course. And then they got shocked at first, and then they put me in the patrol car, and they started talking amongst themselves. Little did I know that the guys that got busted with me, the other 4, they were already snitching on me.
Dang.
They were already snitching.
Dang.
So it was
like that all.
It didn't work. I'm not undercover, so I got nothing to say to you guys. So that was it. I'm not thinking about anything else, but I'm still gonna revenge myself, whack everybody, because I tell people, I didn't realize how dark I was, but I was so like distraught to the point of went on a shootout until they whacked me, and I'm thinking suicide anyway. It's like, I thought to myself, I'm going to hell, there's no way out of the house, I might as well go out in the bank. So what's the point of being good if I'm not gonna, there's no reward.
Yep.
I didn't know about salvation, I didn't know anything about the scriptures. All I knew is this is the way, the God that they instilled in my life growing up, my parents, that God punishes, simple as that. I didn't know any better. So for a minute I became super atheist to the point where I didn't believe in God, I believed in my 45, and I believed in my own tactics, my own skills of survival, and I realized that I was crazy. I was nuts.
You were
Dark.
So when you get arrested, what they sentence you?
I get arrested, it's a process because I get put to San Diego jail, and then I'm there a few months in the shoe, waiting and hearing a bunch of gossip rumors, snitching on me, and cases are opening up. And from the 10 kilos was supposed to be that charge, they opened a new conspiracy on my stuff and my cop partners that are working for me. So now it's a bigger can of worms. So all I'm thinking about is, whoa, how much am I gonna get? I'm thinking in my mind, I don't know how much I'm gonna get. I'm thinking, well, whatever it is, it is. When I get out, I'm gonna get payback. I'm not thinking anything else. I'm thinking about God, I need you, God, I need help. I didn't know that stuff. I just thought revenge and that's that. And even in my head, while I'm in the shoe, locked down in a single cell, I'm thinking that seal wants to just, I'm gonna get him too when I get out. I know he works. I'm thinking all this crazy stuff. I'll be better. Oh, you want to award him too? I'm gonna get him too. I have like in my head the list of people I'm gonna take out when I get out. So I'm just thinking that. I'm thinking eventually I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna come get you guys.
So you're not thinking about what's on the other side of you, because right now you're in special housing unit, but like if you hit the yard, you're not thinking about none of that.
I'm thinking about killing the first guy that bothers me in the yard. First guy, I'm gonna break his neck. And I'm a black belt in like martial arts, jiu-jitsu. So in my head, I've dealt with a lot of dudes in the streets and heard them, so I'm confident in my skills.
Okay.
But I'm psychotic to my brain, and like demonic, and I'm like, just bring it. I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm scared. I'm thinking, I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect me. I grew up in the streets. I trained for a reason, I thought. So that's all I'm thinking about, and little did I know that God had a better plan for me.
Yeah.
While I'm in the shoe, they have a sign in the door where I'm staying in the single cell, and the shoe says do not bunk or wreck with anybody. But because God is powerful, they put a cellmate in there. And he's a ex-Hell's Angel guy, he's a Christian, and because I had no cellmate for like 2-3 months, I'm just like blabbermouth, motormouth, I'm just venting and talking. He's listening to me, and I said, yeah, I don't care, I'm going to hell anyway. I'm talking about all this crazy stuff, and he's like, bro, you don't have to go to hell. I said, show me, prove me. And he's like, let me show you. So he gets the Bible and starts sharing about salvation, about repentance, and I'm like, I never heard of that. I never even knew that existed. And I said, if the Bible is real, God is real, I'm down to surrender, submit to him right now, and ask for forgiveness, because I go, that's an opportunity, why not? You know, I'm not done.
How long were you locked up before this meeting?
Like 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
So you were at the end. You didn't
I was
care.
at the end, yeah. I was
So,
at the end.
and had you gotten your sentence yet?
No, not yet. I'm still, that's all pending. It's still a process. So I know I'm gonna do time, but I don't know how much time, but at the same time, I didn't know that this was gonna happen. So this guy preaches to me. I do this prayer on my own with God, and I said, Father, you know, I sinned, forgive me. I did my own prayer with him, but I really felt his peace at that moment that I couldn't expect. It's just the most awesome peace. And 5 days later, they find the guards. Look at the guy into the window going, what are you doing there? You're not supposed to be in there. But yet they've been feeding him special diet food and taking him to showers, and all of a sudden they see he's there and not supposed to be in there. And they kick him out. They move him to another cell, they leave him by myself, but he preached to me and I got saved at that moment.
Oh, time out, right?
Yeah.
Time out. So he's not even supposed to be in there.
That cell.
So he's in there, you in a dark place. He's like, let me tell you about Jesus.
Yeah.
What the encounter with God, like, were you just like at a place where you're like, I'll take anything? Like, how did you, what was the...
No, it was the fact that God was willing to forgive me. And that was the most impactful moment in my life, because I've never experienced forgiveness from anybody. I did no forgiveness.
So
I didn't know how to give it either to somebody. And so when I experienced it, it really impacted me because I was like, whoa, this guy's going to forgive me for everything I've done, and I'm like, whoa. And then when he did that, I said, man, I wouldn't forgive anybody, Father. I don't care who they are, what they did to me. I forgive because I had a long list of stuff that I did. Yeah. And I was like, I said, man, this is a powerful stuff. It really broke me down right there. And I broke down. I told God, you know what? I don't want to be the guy no more. I don't want to be the violent killer. I want to be nice. I want to be a loving person. I want to experience love, and I want to give love. Shoot, I start experiencing His presence, and that's when I said, I want to know You, the God of the Bible. I don't want to know the religions. I don't want to know all this crazy stuff. I want to know You, and I really mean it. And it started moving in my life. Being in the single cell by myself, neighbors were being put around me who are Christian, and their dads were pastors. They started sending me notes, and the notes would be like scriptures that I needed to hear that moment where I was going through something, and I was like, whoa, this is God speaking to me. He started speaking to me, and then I started fighting with the warden. I said, hey, I don't want to be in the shoe. You don't have to have me in the shoe. I'm not here for discipline because you're here. I'm in here because you guys are afraid to put me in the yard. I said, put me in the yard, and I started arguing with them. And I prayed. I said, Father, show them that you're God, and they're not running nothing. I can't do it. I want to learn. I want to learn about You more, and I'm naive. I'm new to this. I started reading the Bible. And so I read the New Testament, and the Old Testament was freaking me out. I'm like, okay, I don't want to read this. I want to read this stuff. God's smiting everybody. Yeah. And I said, I don't want to read about that. I want to read about Your goodness right now. And then months later, they put me in general population. The lieutenant that taking me out told me, you shouldn't be walking in the yard. Your background, you have all this violence in your background. If I hear anything from you, I'm putting you back in the shoe. I'm not going to get out of the shoe at all. I said, Lieutenant, leave me alone. I'm fine. Don't know me. You don't know me. I'm serving God now. I'm surrendering. I'm not playing games. I don't care what you hear from me about. I'm me. I'm a different person. So leave me alone. And I said, I'm gonna be fine. So when I hit the general population, the first day, I ran into two guys that had been reading the Bible with me next door, and now they're in the yard too. And we started a Bible study together. Three of us started Bible studies together. The second day, I get into the opposition because the gang members from Southern California, so there's a shot caller that they find out I'm an ex-cop, and they hit me up and they told me, man, you can't be in this yard, you're an ex-cop. I said, I'm a criminal like you guys, man. I'm saved, but I said, I'm not going to shoot on myself. Right away, the gangster me came on. I said, you three, we're going to have to duke it out in the cell. I'm not going to bow down to your stuff. I'm not going to shoot on myself. I said, we got to go. The boss told them, hold on a second. So this is all God orchestrated because that shot caller, his boss is a buddy of mine from the street. So I told him, hey, you know Chief from Florida? He goes, yeah. Oh, that's my friend. I call him up and ask him about me. They called him, they left me alone. That shot caller became my buddy. He'll come to the side asking for prayer afterwards. Sheesh. For prayer, for deliverance, you name it. And it was just God using me to start working with people, preaching. And I wasn't any good at it yet. I wasn't even like, I hadn't even been baptized in the Holy Spirit yet.
You just knew I was dead, now I'm alive.
Yeah. So I started Bible study. Like a month later, I meet a pastor that comes to the street, and he's talking about the baptism of the Holy Spirit and praying in tongues. And I said, I want it right now. He laid his hands on me. I started praying in tongues. I feel the presence of the Holy Spirit so powerful. I've never experienced that in my life. The presence, the peace, that it's overwhelming. And I started praying in tongues daily. I started experiencing the supernatural while I'm in prison. I started a big Bible study there that by the time I left that area, before I got sentenced to my first indictment, there was 120 in that tier. And by the time I left, there was 60 people wanting the Bible study. And there was a major revival because I started learning how to pray and fast and bind strongman in the area. I started doing supernatural stuff from the Holy Spirit, from God, from my teachers that were bringing me books. I started getting answers from God. I got my first experience of my own deliverance because I was cursed by a witch when I was a cop. I didn't know this. But I don't know if I'm going ahead of myself.
No.
I was working patrol, the gang unit, and the gangsters have witches working for them, and they do curse on people, and they do witchcraft and santeria and all this crazy stuff. And people don't understand that's real. Well, prior to knowing this lady who worked for the gangsters gave me some St. Michael cards. Because most cops and people in the first responders believe that St. Michael is the protector, the angel. not realizing that he is an angel of God, but when you're Catholic, you don't understand the real bigger picture of the spiritual warfare that's going on in the spiritual realm. Well, the lady gave me the cards, but I didn't realize they were cursed. So I took one in put in my wallet, and one day the guys that are working for me that are always going to the witches, one of my workers keeps saying, "Hey Ruben, let's go to my witch." I said, "I don't believe in that stuff. That's not wacky stuff." He goes, "Come on, let's go to my witch. She's always reading my palm, and the cards are telling me what's going to happen. So sometimes I can't go with you because she's telling me not to go with you to hit houses." I said, "Man, you're crazy, bro." And then, "No, for us, let's go." So one day he convinced me. I just wanted to go just to kind of shut him up. And I went to the witch with him. She read my palm and read the tarot cards and says, "Hey, I see somebody did a curse on you, a burial curse. They want you dead." And I'm like, so she explained to me that they get dirt from the cemetery, put it in a jar and some other stuff, and they bury it in the cemetery. And the demonization behind it is to try to kill you, get you killed. Well, I didn't believe her, and then she told me, "You're going to get a bad surgery, it's not going to work out." And I didn't believe her. I'm Mr. Tough Guy, I don't believe in this stuff. She goes, "I could help you." I didn't realize by going to her, I opened the door to another demon and another curse. I didn't know that stuff back then. So I'm just like ignorant to this stuff, and I'm just whatever. She goes, "I could help you. Just do this when you go home." I listened to her, I didn't care, I didn't pay attention to it, I just left. Little did I know the demons behind the power, they're operating. I'm not saved. I'm living in God's protection, so I'm not doing God's will, so God can only protect me so much. I'm basically on my own in a sense. Yeah. And I get this surgery, I'm supposed to get arthroscopic surgery on my shoulder, and I'm working with the department, and they put me out for 5 hours, and they opened me up, and I wake up with 28 staples. They opened me up, did a ugly surgery, my shoulder was all damaged, I couldn't move it, they overdid it, so now I'm upset, but I'm not thinking about the curses, I'm thinking about the witch. Later on I get arrested. While I'm in prison, I'm starting to read the Bible, when I get baptized in the Holy Spirit, I feel God telling me, "You gotta break this curse in your life." So I read this book by Derek Prince, it's called "Thou Shalt Cast Out Demons." And I'm a baby in Christ, but I started reading this prayer, and at the end of it, it has a long prayer for, book. The book itself, I started reading it. In the back of the book, there's a long prayer, and I'm gonna pray this prayer. I'm in the cell, sitting there on a chair, and the cellmate's asleep on his top bunk, and I'm just starting to pray this prayer, and something comes out of me. I pull my whole body, comes out of me. The cellmate wakes up, he says, "Whoa, what was that?" It must have went by him, and the window was they took off, and I said, "Bro, a demon came out of me."
So
I broke the curse.
Hold on. Before you went to prison, as an officer,
cop, everything, yeah.
You went to see a witch.
Yes, I did.
And had your palm read.
Tarot card, everything, yeah.
So it's kind of like, I think that's helpful for people to hear and understand, because the darkness that you were existing in, it's not, some people will just be like, "Man, how could you do some of these things?"
Right.
Or such and such and such and such. But
Right.
it's there's darkness behind it.
There
It's
is
not
a lot.
just, "Oh, I'm just walking down the street, I just want to take somebody out." And the sad part is, darkness came after you even as a kid.
As a baby. And that's another story, because I didn't know all this until I got older, because once I started reading the Bible, I realized my mom, when I was born, my mom was in a hostile situation in Mexico. She got kidnapped, and they were holding her hostage, and she got raped by this pervert who raped her, and my older brother was born out of that rape, and she was kidnapped for 2 years there, until my real dad rescued her from Mexico and helped her. Of course, he ended up being with her, and that's why I came out of it. But my mom, that guy was trying to find her, kill her, take my brother from her, and while she was already pregnant with me in her womb. So that whole process, the enemy hates you.
Yeah,
Trauma to my mom, I get out of there, and there's trauma there, unknowing to me. So when I started going through my own healing, because God started healing me little by little, while I'm in prison, they sentenced me to 15 years, the first case. So I still have to fight. Well, my second indictment, I ended up pleading guilty because I had the conviction of the Holy Spirit, and God says, "You're guilty towards me." So I used to tell my attorney, "I'm not guilty of nothing. The guys I'm dealing with are criminals. They're guilty too. I want you to bring their victims so you can see what they did to the victims." I said, "Because I ain't guilty of nothing. They don't have no rights. If they want to be gangsters or dope dealers, they know victims." Well, that stopped because one day God told me, we all need salvation, and we all fall short.
Yeah.
So then one day God convicted me and said, "You're guilty towards me." And I bowed down, and I called my attorney after 2 years of fighting the system. So I was stubborn, and I called my attorney and said, hey, I want to plead guilty. Tell the feds, I'm going to plead guilty. Tell the prosecutor, the FBI, I'm not going to fight them no more. I'm guilty because of God, I'm doing it because of God. And they believe me. And then they say, okay, we believe you. I said, I'm not expecting nothing from you, I expect it from God.
Wow.
And I said, I want to come home one day and share what God did in my life. So I'm not going to play games here. And when I did that, they sentenced me to my first indictment, and they moved to a county jail where I was in the shoe for 5 years in a single cell lockdown. And that was God.
23-1?
23-1, sometimes 20, 23, 24. And I was stuck in there, and I said, okay, Father, you have me here because you run the show. You can move me, do whatever you want, but you want me here for a reason. Let me not go in circles in the wilderness. Let me please learn the lessons I need to learn while I'm in here, because if I don't want to be like Israel going around the wilderness too much because I'm stubborn. I want to bow down and learn what I need to learn. So while I was in there, there was 13 cells and all different enemies from the Mexican Mafia, Aryan Brothers, Nazi lowriders, you name it, Crips. They're all there. I'm in one cell and I'm around people that I can't stand because at the time I still hated bullies. They triggered me because some of them remind me of my stepdad still. Not knowing to me that even though I forgave them from my mouth, my heart still was wounded. So when I was in there, I was getting triggered, I was battling a lot of stuff. I'd be trying to sleep, I get punched in the face, I get choked out, like spiritual things were happening. I get up and want to fight the demonic forces. I end up like, show yourself, I want to fight because I was being attacked spiritually, but I didn't realize that there was no way to break free from that. No matter how much I prayed, no matter how many books I read on deliverance, I felt it wasn't working, and I didn't want to tell nobody that I'm a crazy ex-cop. So one day I ended up telling my sister, I called and said, hey, call these pastors who are Christian deliverance experts. I said, I need them to come see me. So they came to visit me, and they told me, hey, we came because of your sister's no, but the Holy Spirit told us to come see you. We've never been to any prisons, but God wants us to pray for you because you're being attacked and you're in spiritual warfare, and He wants us to help you. So they prayed for me and they started going into childhood traumas. They said, let's talk about this. They spent 3 hours with me, and we dove into childhood trauma that hadn't been healed. So child trauma, if you have an open wound, if you cut yourself, it's an obvious wound and everybody's going to see that wound. They're going to tell you, go get some help, go medical treatment. But the internal wound we have in here, nobody can see them. They can hear you the way you talk, the way you live. They're going to say, they got jacked up. But a lot of times you can fake it so good. With me, I could fake it good and I had the trauma within me. And when I started talking to them about my trauma, they started doing the child inner healing prayers, the childhood, the inner child stuff. And I started experiencing the healing within me.
Yeah.
And I started saying, whoa, it's powerful.
Yeah.
So they left, they started sending me books, material. I started studying on this and getting better. But the fibers in the shoe is God wanted me in there so I could face my issues. Face it all. I can't run anymore. I'm stuck right here. I can't help nobody run. I gotta do me and him right here.
So, you've experienced a lot. You meet the Lord. You experience this powerful encounter with God. Then you have these guys come and they're praying with you and you're wrestling and you're healing.
Right.
By the end of this sentence,
right,
who's the person that comes out?
So they gave me 18 years, I did 16, and through all these years of my healing and everything, the new guy comes out that's created in Christ Jesus, of course, with a new identity. The identity of a tough guy, cop guy, that guy died, and coming home to a new person is a different story, you know. While I was in there, I was already the new guy. And while I was in there, I was asking God to use me, because there's a lot of inmates that they're all broken, damaged individuals, father problems, most of them father issues for the most part. And I saw it big time, and I just said, Father, use me. So, to me, when I was a cop, I was arresting gangsters who were broken and damaged, thinking I'm cleaning the streets up so they can have peace in this neighborhood. Now I realizing they're going to go in there and become better criminals or more connected. Well, when I got in there, I said, well, now that I'm in here, I want to preach to these guys, because now when they get out and they get saved, they're going to come and be productive, and they're not going to be terrorists. So it was like, wherever you put me, Father, use me. So I started preaching everywhere. I got good at the inner healing ministry, the deliverance ministry. So I needed the Holy Spirit power. Or else there's no work, there's no supernatural stuff going on until God showed up, and I started seeing people get delivered and healed. And it was powerful. It was a powerful experience to me. Prison was my school, my university, you name it. It was like I was present to me, but I still I felt God's presence every day in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I still had to survive, overlook, watch my back sometimes, think I'm still a human being. I'm still an ex-cop to these guys. But God's got my back, but I still wasn't naive or dumb to this stuff, you know.
Now, I got to interrupt you because that's extremely interesting what you said, but I have to interrupt you for a second because I need everybody right now to like, to subscribe, and to review if you're enjoying what you're hearing. This is very important because we want other people to enjoy this as well. And don't keep it to yourself. God has gifted you to be a blessing to other people. Be generous. And your generosity means liking, subscribing, and reviewing so people see this is the place to be. God bless. Some people don't believe in redemption. They say once a monster, always a monster. What do you say to people like that?
They're broken, they're hurt, or something's wrong with them, something happened to them that they don't know what forgiveness, they don't know the power of God, they don't know God's love. God's love is the most powerful thing, that source that will change a human being from being a monster to being a human being. That's the truth, because when I saw dead people before, I had no love, I had no compassion for nobody. When I shot a person, I didn't care. Well,
That is for Satan.
God reveals himself to you in his love.
That man is for South Africa. For Satan. South Africa. South Africa.
No, South Africa. No, America.
It's over. He'll break anybody. I don't care how tough they are. I don't care what they think they are. God will break that guy. And if he's gonna get you, gonna get you. You can't run from him. You can't hide anywhere.
Who do you think was the hardest person for you to forgive?
I think in the beginning was my stepfather was easy to forgive. I went through phases to forgive him, but I got molested as a kid too, and I never really talked about it a lot. And the guy that did it, I didn't want to forgive him because I wanted to hurt him. And I was a little kid when it happened. He betrayed my trust as a little kid. So in my head, I always thought about how can I want to hurt this guy so bad. And as I started healing from it, I'll get mad at God because I said, I want you to do something to that guy. If I can't do nothing to him, I want you to do something to him. I don't know where he's at, but you do something to him. And when I went to a yard one day, and I was in a yard in Texas, I moved from California prison to Texas prison.
Are we done?
I had like 3 years left to go. And that yard was 1,900 inmates, and I couldn't find out in that yard they're protecting child molesters. And now here I am working for the chaplain, and our Father knows how to humble us and show us His love because the chaplain started bringing me some child molesters like a counsel.
Yeah.
And I'm
Subscribe, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, please.
I'm
live here.
Yeah.
So when I was him in front of me, I said, "Look, man, I don't like the stuff you do. Period. You might not like me because I'm like tough, but hey, I'm here because God wants me to help you. But if you're playing games, get out my face. But if you're real, I'm gonna help you. But even though God knows how I feel about that stuff, I'm already forgiving the person, but I'm still struggling with this because it's still wrong. So that's what molding and breaking in that area. Forgiveness came.
You seen, to me, you seen both sides of the system, right? You seen.
I have.
You seen the.
Can I get one more like to make it 40 thumbs? This is my biggest achievement for my life. Getting 40 likes. It's gonna be my biggest achievement. Can I get one more like, please? Just double tap the screen quickly. Double tap the screen. Before I end this live.
100%, they have to do a prison reform because there's people in there that actually want help and need it, but there's really no programs to help people. The only reason why I got help is because I got desperate and I went after help and God put the resources outside resources while I was in it. My family was looking out for me.
Double tap the screen, guys. Double tap the screen. Can we get 40 likes, please? Only one person need to double tap the screen. The guy just subscribed. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, guys.
But they don't know any better. But to do something in it that says, hey, look,
We are officially done now with this tattoo.
you're not a failure, you're not washed up, you still have somebody that cares about, loves you. So stop acting like a victim and stop acting like a failure in here because you can still recover. But they have to.
Can I get one more like, guys? Only one like.
They teach you, you're
Double tap the screen. Let's make it 40
and then they say,
thumbs.
why should I do anything good? I'm not gonna get
40 likes, guys.
So there's
You
no
can do it.
There's no type of programs that are
guys haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe.
I've seen the system just money thing, monopoly. And I lost respect for the system itself because the same thing. It's money makers. It's not trying to help people. And people
Hit the subscribe button, guys. Please hit the subscribe
So
button.
maybe it needs to be in there, don't get me wrong.
Double tap the screen.
It needs to be in there to stay there for good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Women that they need to
This is my biggest achievement on my lives, getting 40 likes. I love you guys. So this is my 5th tattoo for the day. We will be tuning in again tomorrow. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.